For ways to hurt those who hate you without lifting a finger, they speak your name with venom, as if your very existence disturbs their peace. They smile, but behind that smile hides a blade sharpened by envy. They mock your silence, mistaking it for weakness. They want you angry. They want you broken. They want the satisfaction of knowing that they still live inside your head, but you will not give them that satisfaction, not because you are soft, not because you are afraid, but because you've discovered something far darker, far deeper. To truly wound an enemy, you do not strike back, you rise above. And when you rise high enough, so high that they cannot even reach you, the silence itself becomes the sharpest weapon. We don't play the fool's game of revenge. We don't chase applause, we don't beg for validation, and we certainly don't waste energy in the mud of retaliation. We let them swing at the wind. And in that emptiness, in that silence where they expect chaos but find nothing, they suffer more than any retaliation could ever cause. So here are 4 ways to break those who hate you without even lifting a finger. 1. Stay unshaken. When they try to shake you, their power collapses the moment you don't react. Their entire plan depends on your rage, because your rage confirms their relevance. They crave the sight of you unraveling, because it mirrors the chaos inside them, and when you remain still, composed, untouched, terrifies them. Epictetus captured this truth with deadly precision. It is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting. We don't resist because we are passive. We resist because we refuse to step into their fire. Let them talk, let them spit, let them rot in their own bitterness. We remain cold as marble, unmoved, untouchable. And nothing is more painful to a hateful soul than being ignored by someone they cannot disturb, when they realize their words are nothing more than smoke against stone, that their storms break against an immovable wall. That is when the real damage is done. 2. Build a life so disciplined it shames their weakness. They watch from the shadows, hoping you stumble, hoping you collapse. They want to see cracks in your foundation. But every morning you rise with discipline. Every day you sharpen your mind. Every night you measure yourself against standards they've never even dreamed of touching. And slowly, without trying, your very existence becomes a mirror they cannot bear to look into. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. And so we train. We cultivate habits rooted in strength, not spite. We build lives of order and purpose, not fueled by anger, but by clarity. We cultivate a peace so deep, so steady, that their noise becomes unbearable even to themselves. And nothing stings more than this, realizing the person they tried to destroy is now far above them, not because you climbed in spite of them, but because you never even saw them as an obstacle. You lived your life, built your path, and left them behind in their own shadows. That realization cuts deeper than any sword. 3. Outlive their hate. Time is the greatest judge, and those who live on hate burn quickly, consumed by the very fire they feed. But we endure. We don't live in reaction. We live with intention. Every breath is a decision. Every moment is a test. Seneca warned, how much better to heal a wrong than to avenge one. Vengeance takes us far from the purpose of our lives, so we don't chase them, we outlast them. We let the years speak, and when the years pass, they remain haunted by the same bitterness, the same grudges, while you are still building, still growing, still leading. That is the deepest wound of all. Because you didn't just survive them, you outgrew them. Without lifting a finger, without wasting even a drop of your strength on retaliation, you've already won. And nothing torments them more than knowing their hate became their prison, while you kept walking free. 4. Forgive them publicly, and mean it. The cruelest mercy is the one that exposes their pettiness. When you forgive not with arrogance, but with clarity, you declare before the world, you cannot make me hate you. You are not powerful enough. Forgiveness, when it comes from strength and not weakness, cuts deeper than revenge ever could, because it says, you are no longer a threat. I have already buried the damage you tried to cause, and I buried it inside the man I've become. Musonius Rufus, the teacher of Epictetus, said, "It is not enough to refrain from harming others. We must also not wish them harm. This is the edge only the disciplined can walk." To forgive your enemies is to remove the final weapon they hold against you. They cannot haunt you with guilt. They cannot bait you with hatred. They cannot own space in your mind. And the world notices. They see a man who chooses grace over grudge, composure over chaos. They see you walking through fire, and yet blessing the very hands that lit the match. And they wonder, how can he do that? But we know something they don't. Forgiveness isn't surrender. Forgiveness is liberation. Liberation from their poison, their grip, their presence in our inner world. To forgive is to declare, I am no longer at war. And that peace, that terrifying, unshakable peace, becomes a punishment they never saw coming. That is how you hurt those who hate you, not by striking, not by shouting, not by chasing vengeance, but by rising so far above them that their hate can no longer breathe in your presence. By living with such discipline, such endurance, and such grace that their hatred collapses under the weight of its own futility. That is the Stoic way. And in that way, without lifting a finger, you've already won.